good afternoon, everyone. It's a great honor to be here and to be among the honorees, the cities that have been considered for the Lee Kuan Yew Prize. And I just want to thank the Lee Kuan Yew Prize Secretariat, all of our hosts here, the Singapore team who has made the World City Summit possible. Thank you for all of your work and support of our cities and making them better. It's so humbling when I hear the stories of Ahmedabad and when I hear stories over these past few days of what's happening in cities. It makes me think we have to do a lot more. We don't have it all figured out, and puts our challenges in perspective, certainly. We are very lucky in Vancouver. We have a beautiful city, a beautiful setting. We have a city there where very good decisions have been made for some generations. We have the benefit of wise decisions that have been made. We have the strong pillars of sustainability, with community being very diverse, one of the most multicultural cities in the world, about half from Asian heritage and half from European heritage. We have a very peaceful and positive, inclusive society in Vancouver that is inspiring after there were generations of much tension between the races in Vancouver as immigration over the years took place. But today we have the benefit of a well-planned city where all these cultures have come together and now live in harmony. We have vibrant public spaces that were created by those who preceded us in elected office. We have fantastic access to nature in Vancouver, a wilderness that surrounds the city, the ocean, the beaches, the forests. It is an idyllic environment, and fortunately those who created the city they took that into account, and their challenge was to build a city that actually respected that environment and that setting. And those who are attracted to Vancouver are charged with maintaining that quality, making sure that quality of life, the quality of our environment is paramount in the decisions that we take as a city. So we are built on a strong foundation. Certainly we have had a strong economy as well, as the third pillar of sustainability here. We have managed to get through a challenging financial time very strong, much stronger than most of cities in North America or Europe. So we're doing well in that respect. But Vancouver it's not all been easy. It has faced significant challenges in a relatively short history. 126 years ago, the city was founded on the site, although there are thousands and thousands of years of villages, the indigenous people, the Coast Salish people of our coast. But 126 years ago, Vancouver was a little logging town with small mills along the waterfront. In those years, a great deal of immigration, a great deal of pressure growing the city, but some smart decisions were made at key times. In the 20s and 30s, the watersheds next to Vancouver were protected in perpetuity, protecting a clean, beautiful source of water. In the 1970s, there were decisions made to protect all the farmland, an agricultural land reserve adjacent to Vancouver surrounding the city. In the 50s and 60s, there was clear decisions made to densify the downtown core that looked more to the Manhattans in North America, or the cities in Asia and Europe that concentrated their development downtown, versus the more common North American model of sprawling outward. Vancouver shifted away from a resource-based economy as well. In the 80s, there was a big shift to clean up the downtown area where we had heavy industry, very polluted up until the 70s and 80s, and the city was cleaned up dramatically. And a real focus was put on the knowledge-based economy, the creative sectors, and that is work that continues, and I'll come back to this a little later in my words. So in the 1970s, the other big departure from North American cities was to stop freeways from coming into our downtown. So Vancouver has a big Trans-Canada freeway on the outskirts, but the whole downtown and surrounding areas are not riddled with freeways as you see in many North American cities in particular. Much better for public space and urban planning. So we've done many things right as a city. We continue to be focused on that. We have some big challenges though. In these times, first and foremost, we face real challenges with affordability. We have poverty and homelessness that would surprise you. In a city as affluent as Vancouver, we do have people sleeping on our streets. It's been a big focus of mine to ensure that nobody has to sleep outside in a cold winter. But that is a problem that's created by a very high price of land, a lot of pressure on development in Vancouver that has created poverty and homelessness at the same time. So there is a lot of work to do, making sure our city is best quality of life for everyone who lives there. Every single person has the opportunity to succeed, whether that's solving poverty and homelessness, whether that's making the city more accessible for people with disabilities. We want to make sure everyone has that opportunity in our city. Consumption is too high. We may be a green city, but we have not solved the consumption problem that certainly impacts North America worse than any other place. We consume the equivalent of 4 times what we should right now, 4 planets worth of consumption in Vancouver. We have to get that down. We have to focus on weaning ourselves off of fossil fuels for the long term. Many of the same challenges that cities are struggling with around the world, to be more resilient, to be more focused on a future that is clean and green. We have real challenges, though, as well with our transportation and housing, and this may be a common affliction of many cities, needing more support from our provincial and federal governments to support public housing and public transit. We, in Canada, only get about 8 to 10% of the tax revenue flows through cities directly through our property tax. And that means that we're constantly looking for funding from the provincial and federal government to support big projects, affordable housing projects, and public transit. And those are essential to deal with the affordability question, making sure everyone has a home, and also the growth of the region and making sure we have the transit to service the entire region of 2.5 million people. We, in Vancouver now, are about 40% of people out of cars in transit, in bikes and walking. 40% is very high, and only New York is ahead of us in North America. Our focus is 50% by 2020 as part of our Greenest City goals. So we have a lot of work to do, and that'll only succeed if we get significant investment for public transit throughout the region. I would say our secrets to success going forward, struggling with these big goals, are really focused primarily around engagement and making sure that citizens in Vancouver feel like they're part of the solutions, are contributing to the solutions. And we have had a very vigorous process of neighborhood planning now, of big community engagement on the goals that we set for our city. We have had great success with crowdsourcing and open data, opening up all of the city's data. We have had great work done through ideas competitions that have been global, but certainly more targeted at local input. And we've had great ideas come from these crowdsourcing efforts that we can put to action. Our secret to success, I think, is, as it is everywhere, must include political courage and the will to make transformative change in a city. We can't shy away from this, even though we have to be careful how fast we push the pace, but political will is essential, and community will that is part of that. And that ties to the engagement. If we have the political courage to do it, we have to ensure that we're building the case and including all of the citizens of our city in that change, and enabling them, empowering them to help make that change. And that really comes down to setting big goals for our city. The goals that I ran on as mayor were to end homelessness in our streets by 2015, a very clear goal with metrics associated with it. A goal to be the world's greenest city by 2020. We now have a plan that 35,000 Vancouverites contributed their ideas and input to do that, with 15 specific targets in 10 areas and an action plan that is now being implemented. We have a goal to be the safest big city in North America. I think we have a pretty good shot at that compared to the New Yorks. Although they've done wonders in New York, we have a very safe city comparatively, but we have lots more work to do on that front. And finally, in terms of economic goals, I've put a lot of our focus on the green economy and the creative economy. These are really crucial for our future in Vancouver, continuing to diversify beyond resources. They now represent about 35% of jobs in Vancouver are in the creative and green economy. So I have a video to show. I spared you the PowerPoint, but I have a video, a 3-minute video that we pitch to companies around the world about Vancouver and the digital economy that we're growing there, which is now over 22,000 jobs in digital media. And this is a video that's prepared with a number of the companies that work in Vancouver doing world-class work in digital animation and visual effects. If I could cue that video, this is just a little commercial break for our city. I thought it was worth a little diversion into something a little flashier. That was not me on the snowboard, by the way. I was working at City Hall at the time. So, as you can see, we have great strengths. That video does not go into the details of the challenges that we face, but the future of humanity depends on us and the work that we do in cities as leaders. We are at such a pivotal time for our planet. And this is super important for us as leaders to be gathered and to be able to share and exchange great information. It's a time where we need to be able to look at what other cities are doing and continue to raise the bar. And this prize is an opportunity for us all to strive to do better in our cities and collectively for this world. So I thank the organizers again, my fellow mayors and city leaders for all of the work and the inspiration that you've given us to strive and do better for Vancouver, and working together we can all be more bold. Thank you very much.